The human experiences of our aging, conflict, loneliness, and sadness are fraught with tension. Rosemary Dobson's poems, Young Girl at a Window and Cockcrow, and Paul Thomas Anderson's film Punch Drunk Love both provide insight into these tensions through techniques such as personification, contrast, chiaroscuro, and symbol. Rosemary Dobson's poems express the tension within the aging process. In Young Girl at a Window, the narrator addresses her younger self, relating the loss of her childhood and the journey through life she must undergo. Dobson portrays the loss of childhood as a violent act. For example, the line, "Time was killed and now lies dead," personifies the concept of time into a killable physical entity, symbolizing the death of the girl's childhood. This violent theme is reinforced by lines such as "Mortal swords are crossed" and "The fading air is stained with red," which conjure violent imagery and emphasize the tense and rough transition into adulthood. These devices convey Dobson's message that the human experience of aging can be a tense and painful one. Dobson's poems also explore the tensions within loneliness and conflicting desires. Cockcrow depicts a woman who paradoxically feels both maternal obligations and a longing for freedom from them. This internal conflict is fraught with tension, which Dobson represents through techniques such as chiaroscuro. The narrator's mother and daughter sleep in a lit house, while the narrator seeks absolution and loneliness within the contrasting light of the dark trees of the night. The house's brightness represents how motherly duties are portrayed as welcoming and positive by society, while the abandonment of the maternal role is dark and fearsome, despite being much more desirable to the narrator. Dobson's use of chiaroscuro represents the conflicting tension between the brightly depicted motherly obligations she has come to despise and the freedom she wishes for but cannot have. This poem was likely inspired by Dobson's own experiences as a mother, during which time she took almost a decade-long hiatus from poetry to care for her children. Dobson wrote Cockcrow to represent the tension between her maternal duties and her longing for freedom that she felt as a mother, so that we might understand this tension ourselves and draw new conclusions about conflicting feelings of loyalty and freedom. Unlike the narrator of Cockcrow, who seeks solitude from the people around her, Punch Drunk Love's protagonist Barry Egan does not wish to experience loneliness and tries to seek out interaction despite his social anxieties.
I just don't have anybody else I can talk to.
Paul Thomas Anderson explores the human experience of loneliness through Barry's feelings of sadness.
I don't like myself sometimes.
And the tension that arises through his anxieties spurred on by his verbally abusive sisters and a Sex Lions extortion plot. However, Barry falls in love with a woman named Lena and becomes free of his loneliness and anxiety after she gives him the strength to fight the extortionists. The tension within Barry's loneliness can be seen in the film's opening shot, with Barry hunched over his desk and wearing a blue suit, which he wears in almost every other scene of the movie. The blue suit and background symbolizes his feelings of sadness and loneliness, as these emotions are associated with the color blue. The way he is placed in the corner of the shot also adds to the tension of the scene, as it establishes him as feeling small and isolated. Barry's social anxieties create tension by exacerbating his loneliness. This is visible in the scene in which he feels overwhelmed by his demanding older sister. His feelings of anxiety are revealed through the use of chiaroscuro, as seen in Cockcrow, where the blindingly white daylight silhouettes him against the background. This contrast puts focus on his silhouette, demonstrating his discomfort with being put in the spotlight by his sister. Rosemary Dobson's Young Girl at a Window and Cockcrow, and Paul Thomas Anderson's Punch Drunk Love explore universal themes of aging, conflict, sadness, and loneliness, and the tensions that lie within these themes. By using techniques such as personification, contrast, chiaroscuro, and symbol, Dobson and Anderson present the tensions within these aforementioned human experiences in a unique, engaging, and thought-provoking way.